Scritchity scratch. What's that sound? Cuttlefish. Blasted radio must be broken. You're doing great, Agent 3. Don't let up.
Hi, silly doggy. How are you doing?
Alright, well, we got the thing. I don't care about the lore stuff. Oh, cutscene, I guess. We got a scene. Disrespect your surroundings. Okay, so I'm becoming clear by using the Zap Wish Fish to revive the great octo weapons. Yep. It sounds about right to me. I don't know how many areas there's gonna be in there. Look, I sprayed it. I just inked a little bit. No, you didn't see that. I totally didn't just ink a little bit on the ground there. No. Okay, so it looks like there's 5 areas? According to my map here. It seems kind of like... Whoa. Recenter the thing. Recenter the thing. So this is gonna be another 6 more Zapfish area, it seems like. But yeah, let's see here. When it comes to, like, Pokemon and AAA stuff, it took long to make a better looking game. We get a lot of people complaining about with Pokemon, like Breath of the Wild 2 can get away with it, but Pokemon, we have to see have a lot more talk to people in that community than any other community. Are you talking about, like, Legends Arceus there? Because Legends Arceus actually does not freaking look good in terms of graphics. Like, if that's what you mean. Like, in terms of gameplay, I'm sure it could be just fine. Like, in terms of gameplay, both Legends Arceus and Breath of the Wild looks like they could be, like, just fine and freaking great experiences. But in terms of graphics, freaking Breath of the Wild is such a beautiful game. And Legends Arceus looks like it was for the GameCube and whatnot. But yeah, that's also the case with, like, the Pokemon community, is, like, constantly expecting new stuff all the time. Like, I feel like a lot of the Pokemon community, in my opinion, has gotten, like, so indoctrinated into, like, this, like, regular, like, a major game releases, like, very frequently, like, usually annually. Either annually or biannually, and it's always that, and whatnot. No, we've been getting new freaking Pokemon stuff. 2018, like, was Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. 2019 was Pokemon Sword and Shield. 2020 was Pokemon Rescue Dungeon Rescue Team DX, along with the expansion pass for Pokemon Sword and Shield. 2021 is Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. 2022 is Pokemon Legends Arceus. So I will not freaking accept the argument that we haven't been getting anything lately. There's been things ever since the Switch freaking came out. Constantly. Whereas you see games like freaking the Legend of Zelda series, or like the Xenoblade Chronicles series, where so much time is taken to actually painstakingly craft these, like, really incredible experiences, like we see with cases like Breath of the Wild or like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. There's rumors that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 might have its release date announced soon. Like, because that's been in development for a while. Like, it's not confirmed that it's been in development for a while, but anybody that has the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition art book basically knows that there's been a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in development for a little while now, it seems like. Okay, up we go. But yeah, they really don't take their time with it. It feels like, it feels kind of rushed and whatnot. Because, like, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl is, the Pokemon home team. My goodness, this is freaking weird, isn't it? This area here. Also reminds me kind of Mario Galaxy stuff. I kind of like this in a way. This is kind of cool, I'm gonna be honest. This level design that we have here. I actually kind of like this. Okay, boopity bop. Like, so it's the Pokemon home team that's working on Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, not Game Freak. And Legends Arceus is the Game Freak thing, Merbob, is what's going on there. And Pokemon Sword and Shield was also Game Freak. So let's just assume, like, the best case scenario. 2020 was when the expansion pass all came out for Sword and Shield. When was the second part of the expansion pass anyway for, like, freaking Sword and Shield? I kind of want to look this up now. Hold on, let's Google this for a hot second. When was the Crown Tundra release date? Pokemon Sword and Shield Crown Tundra release date. It was October 22nd, 2021. Legends Arceus releases in January of 2022. So, like, it's clearly been in production for more than a year and a half. I think clearly. But like, it will have, by the time it comes out, it will have clearly been in production for a year and a half. But considering Sword and Shield and freaking whatever the heck, Legends Arceus were both Game Freak. And let's just assume that the Crown Tundra was done, like, even sometime in the summer before October. Like, let's assume best case scenario, they finished it all in, like, the summer, and they didn't finish it, you know, the day before release, which is the worst possible way that you could estimate. Then they could still only have their full team on the project for a year and a half before release, which is very scary. Like, they must have clearly had, like, parts of the team on it before, because, again, there's no way that it was only in production for a year and a half. But they could have only had the full team on it for a year and a half before release. That's scary. I can't imagine having a game of that scale be in production, like, full swing with a full team at around that time. Like, I've developed a small indie game during my university that was part of a team of 6, and we had to develop that in 3 months. Like, it was a very short game. It was only a 20-minute long game. But even that felt like hell. I know how many things you need to freaking skip to rush a product out there. Like, our game is so freaking buggy. Our game that I never want to share on this channel is kind of a bit of a mess. I must say. Of course, very different kind of scale of project and whatnot. But also, so I guess I can go up that. So again, they must have clearly had, like, parts of the team on it before and, like, part of the team on it later. But something that I wonder is, why don't they just have, like, different studios that they're willing to give it to? Is what I'm wondering. Studios that aren't the Pokemon home team. Why don't they do that? Like, we see it with series like the Assassin's Creed series, for example. Ubisoft has studios all over the place. So when it comes to Assassin's Creed, they were doing annual Assassin's Creed games for a long time. They didn't do this by freaking having the exact same studio working on it, like we see with freaking Pokemon releasing annually or biannually. What Ubisoft instead does is have, like, different Ubisoft studios around the world be working on different games. So, like, one studio will be working on this game that releases this year, and then they start working on their next Assassin's Creed game that's going to release, like, 4 or 5 years later, while other studios work on all the ones that, like, fill up that other time. I don't believe they release annual Assassin's Creed games anymore. They took, like, a 2-year break between Odyssey and Valhalla, and I don't know how long the next break is gonna be, because even with different studios, Ubisoft has had a bad habit of rushing things, aka cases like AC Unity being rushed out and being hella glitchy. So it's not like Ubisoft is exactly a saving grace, but they have a better idea of how to get, like, games out on a regular basis, either, like, annually or biannually, by having, like, different studios working on it. And we've seen Nintendo give other studios, like, chances with their IPs. Like, for example, Luigi's Mansion 3 was made by a group in Vancouver, I believe. So just the province right over from where I live, which is hella cool that that Luigi's Mansion 3 is a Canadian game. Yeah, we go ahead and slip through that. We see freaking other companies helping out with projects like Breath of the Wild, where Monolith Soft, the freaking masterminds behind Xenoblade Chronicles, helped out making the world for that game. That's probably part of the reason why Breath of the Wild's world is so beautiful. But with Pokemon, we see them get a lot more stingy about using their IP. Or freaking take Metroid, for example, for other groups taking use of a IP. We had this, like, super ambitious freaking studio, Mercury Steam, that really wanted to make a Metroid Fusion remake. Come pitch it to Nintendo. And we're like, hey, we want to remake Metroid Fusion. Will you let us remake Metroid Fusion? And Nintendo was like, no, we don't actually want you to make Metroid Fusion, but we really like what you've been showing us here. So how about you actually do make a Metroid remake for us, which we recently covered on this channel, Metroid Samus Returns, and it was actually hella fun. And then how about you just get to develop Metroid 5 from there, Metroid Dread. So I'm really looking, oh gosh darn it. So I'm really looking forward to Metroid Dread. And that's a project that's been in, like, development hell for, like, 19 years. But now they're giving it to this other studio that was really passionate about it and made, like, a really cool remake of Metroid 2. And are like, hey, how about you continue the IP from here? And I think that's really cool to see, like, other studios given the reins to, like, take charge and, like, show their passion for a project. And there are so many people that are so passionate about Pokemon. Like, there have been so many Pokemon fan games that have been made over the years that, like, people have done, like, countless time into to make possible. Like freaking Pokemon Uranium, Pokemon Rejuvenation, Pokemon freaking whatever the heck. There's so many Pokemon fan games out there. Like, there's so many passionate people that are willing to do incredible things for the IP out there. But we don't see them ever given the reins to ever work on the IP themselves. We see their projects taken down and get handed a cease and desist from Nintendo is what we see happen. Heck, there was even a fan-made Metroid 2 remake that we saw get taken down, which I guess makes sense because Nintendo was going to be selling their own Metroid 2 remake. But what they should have done is been like, hey, developers of freaking another Metroid 2 remake, you want to come be involved with like Metroid shenanigans? Because from what I've heard, apparently it's a very, very good remake. From what people have told me. Apparently it's very different than the official remake, but it was still a thing that had like a lot of passion put into it and was developed over the course of years just from people's passion. And that makes me really wonder where a series like Pokemon would be if they were willing to like hand off the reins to some like younger developers that have the passion to like bring the series forward rather than have everything be stuck in the hands of like a single developer / like development team that is just content doing the same old over the course of like decades now that people are tired of seeing, but they don't seem intent to like change their ways at all. Anyway, that's my ramble about that whole thing. I know that you've been saying things, Guzman, and I haven't been reading them. That's what happens when I ramble, is I need to like get my full thoughts out there first. I gotta climb this wall first, and then I can like read some things and whatnot. They all took the time. It took 3 to 4 years to make a Pokemon game like Breath of the Wild. The people in Pokemon community would start getting toxic, start complaining, asking them to make it regardless, even though they knew they were taking their time to make it look incredible. And that's why I think that the key should be absolutely giving things to other studios rather than being stingy and being like, nope, Game Freak or very specific other groups like the freaking Pokemon home team are the only ones allowed to handle the IP. Let some new freaking young, passionate developers that are freaking so passionate that they're willing to go out of their time to make fan games have input, or like be the next generation of gosh darn it, be the next generation of developers for a series. I feel like that's where we can really see passion. And playing some indie games on this channel like Dark Deity and There Is No Game have got me like really thinking about like where the passion is in the AAA gaming space, and how we feel like so much more, at least I felt like so much more passion in these indie games that I've been playing, that both with There Is No Game and Dark Deity, both in terms of like the code and whatnot, were mostly developed by one person. And I find that really fascinating that both were made as like passion projects of both these developers making the games that they wanted to play. Especially in the case of Dark Deity. That's the one that I'm more familiar with, what with talking with Chip. I should really freaking reach out to Chip again one of these days. Freaking ask him if he's still interested in coming on to an episode of Creators Collide. Should reach out to him again one of these days or something like that. Here's another level there. Like, I feel like that's the key to have some of these like really old series go forward. Let them go to some like passionate new developers. Like freaking we've been seeing with Metroid. Like we saw with Luigi's Mansion. Like we've been seeing with cases with Legend of Zelda, with like Monolith Soft helping out with cases like Breath of the Wild and Breath of the Wild 2 to help those worlds look incredible. Some people who've never worked on that IP officially before, but would love the opportunity to do so, you know? Like if I worked at Monolith Soft and I was tasked with helping develop the world of Breath of the Wild, I'd be like, whoa, that's so cool. Count me in, you know? That's something I could be passionate about. Come on. What the heck am I doing here anyway? Do I just need to snipe that thing, maybe? So, do I jump into that from, what? I can jump up here. Okay. But yeah, let's see here. Come to a point where the Pokemon community will complain about anything no matter what, because how popular it is, don't understand. But you don't understand how it's so popular, people complain and criticize it so much. The reason why it's so popular, people criticize and complain so much, is because most of the people who are buying products are people that don't even know about any criticisms in the first place, is the thing. Like, it's the largest grossing media IP for a reason. Like, it's continued to stay the largest grossing media IP for a good while now, for a good reason. Most of the sales of a Pokemon game aren't gonna come from people who take to Twitter to like ramble about their opinions on Pokemon. Most consumers of Pokemon are going to be like a kid that sees Pokemon on the shelf and are like, whoa, that's Pokemon, I wanna play it. Or like a parent looking at the shelf for like games for a kiddo. That's the way it was for me when I was a kiddo. I freaking went to the store, I was looking at games, I picked up games like freaking Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers, for example, being like, whoa, that's Pokemon, I want to play it. And those are the Explorers games freaking changed my life. I'm so glad I picked those up. Best decision best decision I ever made. But that's the way that, like, most consumers are. Or even take like a lot of friends that I had throughout my time in grade school, for example. Like, I grew up with most of the same group growing up because of the German bilingual program. There are very few German bilingual schools in the city, so we all essentially wound up going to the same set of schools since even before elementary, all the way up to freaking junior high and high school. We were sharing like the same classes because of the German bilingual program. And growing up with the same group of people, they used to play Pokemon back in elementary school, was the thing. And a lot of them, almost all of them, would stop playing Pokemon after that. They got out of it. But they still love Pokemon. They just, you know, weren't as into video games anymore and didn't have the consoles required to play it anymore. But, you know, as emulations started going around phones in my junior high school, freaking everybody started playing the Generation 3 Pokemon games on their phone in my freaking junior high school. Everybody did. When Pokemon Go came out towards like the end of, was it when I was in my first year of university? Was it towards the end of high school? I don't remember anymore. But when Pokemon Go came out, everybody picked it up because they'd played Pokemon in the past and they hadn't for years because they hadn't owned the hardware for it, and they're getting it now. Or there's a lot of people who I knew back then who own a Switch nowadays because of how well the Switch has done for itself. Like, one of these friends through high school, the person that I actually, well, through all of grade school in general, who my rival is actually named after in my Platinum playthrough, the freaking Michael. That dudo, he freaking got a Switch, and after not owning a Nintendo console since elementary school, and with Pokemon Sword and Shield coming out, he was like, yeah, I want to pick up that game. I haven't played Pokemon for years, and this seems like a good opportunity to get back into it, without knowing that there's like all the fiasco going on the internet about people defending it, criticizing it. Almost all the consumers, well, not almost all, but most of the consumers of Pokemon are going to be those that don't follow the Twitter drama, the internet drama. They don't see videos on YouTube like mine or anything like that. Almost all the I need to stop saying almost all. Most of the consumers of Pokemon are going to be like this casual player base that wants to play Pokemon, that's a kiddo that doesn't understand what's going on with any of the games, or they're in the group of like my friends or something like that freaking hadn't played Pokemon for a long time and see recent entries as like, oh, I own that hardware now. Maybe this is my chance to pick up a new Pokemon game with that coming out and whatnot. Wow, that's an instant kill. Or take cases with like Pokemon Go, where it's easily accessible for anyone. My freaking mom plays Pokemon Go. Like, and she had never really played a Pokemon game before, and now she knows like so many Pokemon names and is basically a Pokemon fan, and it's astounded me. And there have been countless people around her workplace that have been like the same, that have heard about Pokemon through other stuff, and the moment it's available for free and on their phones, they get into it. Like, at the university where I work at, I will oftentimes do work for my mom's group, essentially, sometimes for some other groups, but I spend a lot of time in that same kind of area. And if you spend time working around there, you'll know that sometimes people will go for lunch and they'll go like do a raid battle, or sometimes there's like a big event raid battle going on, and then like everybody in the offices before COVID times, at least half the people in the offices will get up and be like, yep, it's the Pokemon Go break, time to head downstairs and hit up that raid battle all together and whatnot. And that's what they do. And people from other buildings on campus come over and freaking are playing Pokemon Go as well, and people start trading there with Pokemon Go. What the heck do I do here? Maybe I go up there or something like that. So almost all of like the player base of, I keep saying almost all, but most of the player base of Pokemon in general is going to be like the casual player base that doesn't know that there's any drama in the first place. That's how large Pokemon is. Like, even if every single person that had any opinion about Pokemon that they posted ever on Twitter decided not to pick up Pokemon games anymore, it'd put a dent in Pokemon sales, sure, but it would still easily be profitable. Easily. Did I have the key this entire time by picking up there and I was just too dumb to realize? Like, that's the way Pokemon is. If every single person that had any complaint about this series ever on Twitter or any other social media platform decided to boycott it, it would still be profitable, easily. That's what it's like. So there's a lot of people that like to comment on my Pokemon video essay being like, oh, all of us watching this video just need to vote with our wallets, that'll show them. Whereas it's like, no, they can still absolutely keep doing it, because even if every single person that watches that video of mine decides not to buy it, it's how much is it really gonna change in the grand scheme of things, you know? But yeah, let's just see here. And I'm following up on stuff now that I didn't before my ramble there. How did Sword and Shield become the third top selling Pokemon games? That would be the reason why. The the stuff there, I guess I already answered that with the ramble that I had there before. Just because of like the Switch doing so well as a console itself. Like I know so many people that I knew like growing up through grade school and whatnot that hadn't owned a Nintendo console since elementary school but wound up getting a Switch and look at something like Sword and Shield and are like, oh, this is my chance to get into Pokemon again, you know? This is absolutely that. And even with consoles selling super well like the freaking 3DS and Nintendo DS, it's not like there was any lack of freaking Pokemon players there. There wasn't my group of people that I knew, but generally freaking games like Sun and Moon were selling so crazy well. Didn't X and Y hit like the top charts? And then Sun and Moon were like the new things to hit like the top charts. And now Sword and Shield are like really getting up there in the top charts. I feel like it's like it's definitely directly connected to how well the consoles do as well. And people that are like, oh, I know Pokemon, or I've heard about Pokemon, this is my chance to get into it, you know? Like, most of the consumers aren't going to be, like, long-time fans that have been around with the series for an incredibly long time. It's kind of like Dead by Daylight in a way. Dead by Daylight is a game that constantly has people leaving because of the drama and issues around that game. My goodness, Dead by Daylight is such a flawed game in so many ways. But that game is kept alive by a constant influx of new players. And Pokemon is one of those series that equally has, like... Pokemon also has like a lot of longtime fans that are sticking with it no matter what, but it is also freaking constantly kept alive by a constant influx of new players because it's the highest grossing media IP in the world. Everybody knows about Pokemon. It's a household name. So when somebody has the new hardware that Mononoctarian says the key, find it with a it's on the map. I don't know. Is it the little thing on my map here that's going over that way? It's a household name. So when somebody has the hardware, whether that be a Switch or a smartphone for Pokemon Go, and they see that there's a way for them to get into the series and try it out, they're like, oh, I've heard so much about this, or I know somebody that's so into it. Almost everybody in freaking so many people in a first world country are going to at least know somebody who's been hella into Pokemon, you know? Like, try finding somebody here within, like, our cities who doesn't know at least one person who loves Pokemon, you know? It's gonna be very hard not to find them. So everybody's heard about it and like knows somebody who's been hella into it. So it's been like a snowball effect that's helped it. Where am I looking here? I'm supposed to look at my Wii U gamepad. It's apparently over here. There you are. Jeez. My good gracious. Maybe there is a little bit of Wii U gamepad use and whatnot. But yeah. Oh, boopity bop. But yeah, when you say that 90% of the Pokemon community really don't like it, that might be more so like 90% of the people willing to go onto the internet and share their opinions really don't like it. Rather than 90% of the people that are actually into it really don't like it. Which, in a case for a series as big as that, is going to be like a very, very stark difference, considering, you know, the amount of people that are willing to go onto the interwebs and share their opinions about this series of children/family games is going to pale in comparison to the amount of people that actually, you know, play it. It's going to be like a very small fraction, like a little, it's going to be like a drip in the pond, essentially, in a way. But yeah, I never thought about it like that, just gotta get confused at all. Thanks for clearing that up with me, no problem. I feel like maybe that's something that I should have explained better in my Pokemon video essay in general, because I get like a lot of comments about like the same kind of thing, Bob, where I'm like, no, it's not like that because X, all that stuff. So it's such a specific, like, weird case, that whole IP in general nowadays, where it's like, you know, what can happen with it from here, what should happen from here, and how is like the majority of consumers gonna act about it from here. Because like, games like Sword and Shield have a lot of problems. They're still fun games at the end of the day. Like, I enjoyed my time with Sword and Shield. I had a lot of fun with them. There are a lot of things I would change about it though, and some of the business tactics behind it, like the whole Pokemon Home fiasco, I think are like freaking evil, quite frankly. But most casual players aren't going to freaking, you know, look at every little aspect like that and be like, oh my goodness, these business tactics are actually kind of dark. They're just gonna pick the game up off the shelf and be like, hey, this is fun. Like, if I didn't know about like anything else going on and I just played Sword and Shield and that was it as a casual player, I wouldn't think that there's anything wrong. Like, I enjoyed Sword and Shield, for example. Like, I wouldn't realize that there was any freaking awful business decisions just coming into it as like a wow, is that really all it is? Just coming into it as a casual player. If I just came into Sword and Shield as a casual player without any background or anything, I'd just be like, wow, this is a fun game. I'm glad that I picked it up and enjoyed my time with it and whatnot. But actually taking the time to look at like the business decisions and stuff like the whole DLC freaking Pokemon Home fiasco and all that stuff, it's like, oh, yikes, you know? Is what it becomes more so like, what am I missing over here? But yeah, I've been thinking about making a follow-up video for it. But I feel like if I did ever make a follow-up video, it'd be best done like after Brilliant Diamond and Legends Arceus are released, and then I can like properly talk about how they actually turned out, you know, in addition to like following up on like other stuff that I want to follow up on. So I probably will do a follow-up eventually, but it'd probably be like sometime after January next year. Where's the thing that I'm missing? Sorry for Sword and Shield was super generic, but that's the way that it is in like every Pokemon game except for like the original Black and White. Black and White's so good. Gen 5 and but it wasn't out there like Gen 5 and 7. I feel like Gen 7 had the potential to be like a really good plot, but it could have explained things a lot better. Kind of like Sword and Shield as well, but that's my opinion at least. That's my opinion at least. The only main series Pokemon plot that like really stood out to me was Black and White. Man, I could really get behind some Pokemon Black and White plot. Where the heck is this last thing that I'm missing here anyway and whatnot? Gameplay's still fun, and so is the Dynamax battles. Yeah, the gameplay's still fun. The gameplay has some issues, like the freaking Dynamax Adventures. While we were recently shooting Pokemon Platinum, I was rambling about how much I hated Dynamax Adventures because of how much was out of your control. Like, at least with a shiny hunting Pokemon and like something like Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. It's like, okay, I can just reset here on the moment I find a shiny. It's like in my control apart from the RNG of actually catching the thing. Like, I can come prepared with a Pokemon catching Pokemon with like False Swipe, Thunder Wave, or Spore, stuff like that. So I can actually come into this prepared. Well, with Dynamax Adventures, you've got literally nothing that you can do to like prepare for it, and you just gotta like hope for the best. Hope that you don't get screwed by RNG, hope that you don't get screwed by randos, and I think that it's a little bit silly. So like gameplay stuff like that, there's stuff that I would definitely change. But like, you know, the world could have been fleshed out a lot more. The freaking, in terms of gameplay, if you want to pool stuff like the whole Dex Cut and Pokemon Home fiasco into the same umbrella as gameplay, there's that whole kind of awful situation. If they're under a different umbrella though and it's a separate thing, then yeah, the gameplay was hella fun. But yeah, Gen 5 stood out to you because of the trials, which is something that changed the format of Pokemon. I know that that was like a mixed bag for a lot of people. I liked the change of pace. Like, as we were talking about earlier this stream, like with game companies taking risks and trying something new. We saw Pokemon try something new there. Be like, hey, with this generation, let's have something completely different to gyms. But then there was like mixed reception to that. Some people loved it, some people hated it. And they were just like, you know what, let's just go back to gyms. Let's just do the thing that we know that everybody loves, instead of doing the like mixed bag that we had before. It's like that whole thing, Bob, of like, you know, there's a lot of investment that goes into making a game at the end of the day. So why take risk when you can just do what you know sells? And I guess maybe they saw the mixed bag from Sun and Moon and were like, okay, this will be a one-off this time. Let's not try something different for the main objective for each generation. Let's just go back to the same old, same old. Well, I guess they sort of combined trials and gyms in Sword and Shield. They kind of did that, which was a bit intriguing. But you know what I mean. I have literally no idea where the hell I'm going for this. Is it under here? Like, okay. My goodness, this one was a little bit hidden. So yeah, that's how I feel about that whole situation and whatnot. And when it comes to Splatoon, depending on how Splatoon 3 turns out, we might, it looks like an Octa Striker Agent 3, we might well be seeing the same thing with Splatoon, where it's like, why take risks, try something different when we can do this, like, very similar to the same thing that we've done before. We'll see. Maybe Splatoon 3 will be a very different game than Splatoon 2. Again, Splatoon 2 being very similar to Splatoon 1 makes, oh gosh darn it, makes sense at least, because they're on different consoles, and it's a multiplayer game. Kind of like having freaking Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart across consoles, even though Smash Bros. And Mario Kart games are way more different. Well, than something like Splatoon. But it's still like, hey, let's have a version of this, like, ranked multiplayer game that we have on both of our consoles, you know? So that makes sense. But I really do not get Splatoon 3 being on the Switch. Maybe it'll be different enough, or maybe it'll be another case of companies just being like, yeah, let's just make more of what we know has already sold and just live life like that. Pretty easy peasy. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. when it comes to Splatoon 1 here, from, again, this is my first time playing Splatoon 1. Generally, I'm having fun so far. Generally, I'm having fun. My wrist, it hurts a little bit. It's not too bad, but like, I am generally having fun so far. But from what I remember playing several years ago for the story of Splatoon 2, this does feel pretty much just like what I had played with that. Which, again, is fine for different consoles. But if I wind up playing Splatoon 3 and it feels like this exact same thing again, then it's like, oh, did I really need to get another game for that? We'll see. We'll see how it turns out and whatnot. But yeah, you're still excited to see gyms return in Gen 8, but do miss the mix of newer mechanics from Gen 7. I mean, they did basically combine, you know, gyms and trials in a way. The Sword and Shield gyms were kind of like, here's a Sun and Moon trial, but it ends in like every prior generation gym battle instead of a Totem Pokemon battle. I guess I can hit the valve. I don't know why I wasn't doing that there. You know why the heck? Well, there we go. Yeah, I hope Splatoon 3 is different, but gameplay in the trailer seems to be somewhat similar. Well, of course the gameplay is going to be somewhat similar, but like, how much will there be? Like, I'm sure it'll run on the same engine and everything like that. Like even looking at something like the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, it's going to be looking generally very similar to Breath of the Wild, but hopefully there's going to be like enough new added to the table where it feels like a very different experience. I mean, so far we've seen a decent bit of that with like Breath of the Wild, with the freaking new powers that do things, and like a vastly different landscape with a freaking like city, the place in the sky and stuff like that. It's seeming like, and enemies doing new stuff. I mean, saying new powers and new areas and whatnot, that's probably sounds like the equivalent of what's going to be happening in Splatoon 3, but you know, it's different. It's a, God, I don't know how to explain it properly. And whatever, it starts hurting more, yeah, well, if it does start hurting more, I'll definitely keep in mind taking a short break. I wasn't expecting Splatoon to be doing this to my wrist and whatnot. I mean, I'm getting so used to rambling now as well. Isn't this the thing to like the top over here? I believe. Hi. See ya. Got enough Zapfish to the boss kettle. I wonder if there really is 5 worlds in this. Because it shows 5 on my map. Or if there'd be like more. Because if there's 5, we might just do it in like one sitting. Or something like that with the speedrun rambling stuff that we're doing out here, you know? Away we go! We could do Splatoon 1 and then 2 like immediately after. Like, because I was expecting this to take at least 2 sessions in my weekly schedule. So like this week and next week I'll be streaming it on Twitch here. Wow, that reminds me of those electric crab dudes from Skyward Sword in the past. That's what that kind of reminds me of, except massive. But if I actually beat this game like tonight, then maybe next week would just be Splatoon 2. Yeah, this is the first stream for Splatoon 2, and we're already on like the 3rd world boss. Is the thing. Oh my goodness, you're nasty. You're nasty, stop! Okay, what do I shoot for you anyway? Oh my goodness, you are weird. Oh my goodness, you are more gross than the freaking business practices of Atari. Oh, yikes. Do I do something during that? It's gotta be. Maybe I shoot the eyes? While you're on your side and getting ready? Or something? No, I can't quite tell. I can't quite tell. Do you have any ideas, Guzma, for how I deal with this, maybe? I actually don't get it. I actually do not get it. I don't understand. Help me. Please, I need an adult. Do I hit that thing, maybe? What the heck? Do I hit that bulb at the top? The googly-eyed clam that you saw somewhere before? Oh, dang it, my ink is gone. That sucks. Why did that sound almost like a Toad sound for a hot second there, like Super Mario's Toad? For a hot second. So 3 or 4 there is when you go. Oh, you get stuck in my ink. Oh. So I just need to ink the area in front of him. Okay, well, I guess we put down a bunch of stuff then, I guess, or something. Is what we do. Sure. That's a little bit grody, isn't it? Okay, so stuff is moving now. Yeah, that sound right there. I swear that's the same, like, MP3 sound that they use for Toad from time to time. Yeah, like that. Okay. Wait, but you recovered this time? Was it not enough? So maybe I should ink the whole center area here and ensure that you come through here. Something like that. Yeah, you need to get like really slowed down then. That's what needs to happen. So I should ink that whole center area is what I'm interpreting here. That's what I'm interpreting for this boss over here. Is what I'm thinking. Alrighty. Think it might have been from SpongeBob? All I think of when I think of clams when it comes to SpongeBob is the episode where SpongeBob and Patrick are parents of the baby clam. They start having like the parental arguments and stuff. So can I set this up properly? Not enough. So I do need to ink like a whole place, essentially. It seems like. So I better ink this down. Darn it. There we go. Something like that. There we go. How to beat this boss? Wish you knew unless you searched it up. I just figured it out. Is that how long the stream delay is? Are you on mobile by chance? Because I figured it out like a few minutes ago. Was a thing. Unless the stream delay is just hella behind. Well, it's like the boss is beaten. We figured it out. That's the thing. The stream delay might just be hella weird. Hi there. How are you doing? He looks so traumatized every time. Roll with the punches. The ramp, I didn't get to read that. I didn't want to read it anyway.